Hey, Sean.
Hey, Rich. Erd.
Guess what?
What?
We have found a new home on the internet, a home just for us. It was built just for us, and it's made just for us.
Where's that?
That would be the Podbros Network.
Podbros Network. We're bringing the bromance to Podbros?
Yes. Oh, see, I see what you did there. You did a bros and bro. Oh my God. Oh, so much.
It's meant for us.
I'm just saying, like, how can you not like a network with other great shows like Dave's Nerd Compendium, Pencil and Ink Reviews, and The Accidental Wrestling Fan? This is the peanut butter to our chocolate.
It is, and they got like Players versus Podcasts and the Guy Huddle. I mean, what more can you ask for?
So we got to tell everybody, check us out on all our regular venues as well as our new home on Podbrothers.
Podbros, the best podcast site on the internet.
Well, it is now. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Sean.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And today, the bromance huddle. See what I did? The bromance huddle has gotten a little bigger.
The bromance has grown by one.
We have a +1. Not like we had a baby, but whatever. I would like to introduce our audience to we'll go with the co-founder, our honored guest, John from the Podbros Network.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on.
You gave birth to a 30-year-old man, so.
Why it hurts so much.
So this is going to be our special year-end episode, and what a lot of shows like to do is they like to say, "Hey, let's look back what 2014 was," but
that's not us.
That's not what we do. We look to the future. And so for this very special episode of Language of Bromance, we're gonna talk about the things we're looking forward to in 2015. Movies, books, comics, whatever sparks our fancy.
Being with a girl.
Oh, that'd be so great. I hear it's amazing.
I read books.
So I'm going to start out with a movie I'm kind of looking forward to. They recently just had the trailer out for it. And it's not the one that you guys, I think, are going to be excited for, but it's one starring the nice gentleman from Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm kind of excited for the Jurassic World movie. Have any of you guys seen the trailer for that yet?
Oh yeah, that looks epic.
It does. John, the reason he likes the reason the thing he's gonna draw attention to in this trailer is it's the shark. It's them pulling the shark over. That the giant dinosaur leaps up and eats like Shamu.
Yes,
it's SeaWorld.
And all of the fans, they look on in awe and they're like, yeah.
Well, I see the shark coming in. I'm like, yeah, death to sharks. Woo!
Right.
And then I find out there's something worse than sharks, apparently.
There is. In Jurassic World, there is something worse than sharks. But here's, it looks like a cool movie, and Chris Pratt's in it, and you got raptors in it and stuff like that. I have two things with this movie. Number one is why, considering the problems that you have had with, dinosaurs trying to eat people on the island, and also a Tyrannosaurus Rex running through downtown, I'm guessing it was L.A. I don't remember.
L.A. or San Diego.
It was L.A. or
San
Diego. Oh, shit. Go away! But given all that has happened, we're going to, number one, build a gigantic theme park for everyone to come and see, even though we have had all these problems with, dinosaurs doing shit. And number two, we're going to genetically modify these dinosaurs in order to make them even more scary. Now, maybe this is just me, but it seems like we're creating the recipe for disaster and not caring.
Well, it sounds like the movie premise is like they've had like 20 years where this park has been open and actually functioning, and then they go to the point where they're like, well, everybody's getting tired of the normal dinosaurs. Let's create something that's half something else. I think Chris Pratt says it great. It's like, yeah, that probably wasn't a great idea.
No, it wasn't.
But I wonder if this will, because I mean, we were all about the age of probably like 10 to 12 when the first Jurassic Park came out. So I'm wondering if this will hold as much weight as that one did, because that was the first time you saw dinosaurs on the big screen, like with people that actually looked like dinosaurs. So I'm kind of wondering with this show if it's going to be just kind of like you're going to be looking more for plot and it's not really going to be there.
I mean, I think that it's going to be basically what you're saying is it's going to be like a big special effects like extravaganza, and it's the movie itself isn't going to have any substance.
That's what I'm worried about.
I mean, I think that's the danger with all movies that have like a very high degree of special effects, that it runs that danger of just being like eye candy.
Well, I mean, the worst that could come of this is that at the end of it, when the credits roll, we see Chris Pratt dust himself off, then pick up a fedora and a whip, and then it says, "Coming soon, Indiana Jones."
Oh, shit.
Oh, see, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Is Steven Spielberg directing this one?
I believe so.
Okay.
I know that his name's attached to it. I don't know if he's just producing and someone else is directing, or what's going on.
I'll tell you what, if anybody has the chance, you need to go to Riff Tracks. It's RIFFTRAX. It's the guys from or some of the guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000, and it was Mike Nelson and a couple other guys, and they had a site where you would download audio tracks to play to movies. Like popular movies, and it worked just like Mystery Science Theater, where they're like, like coming up with, they're screaming at the screen and doing jokes and shit like that. But they did one for Jurassic Park, and they had Weird Al Yankovic on there doing it with them. So it's like it's Mike Nelson and Weird Al and a couple other guys, and they're sitting there like you pay like $2 or something, you download the audio track, then you put in the movie, kill the volume on your TV, and then play the audio track from your computer, and then
Oh, nice.
It's fucking hilarious. It's so good. You see them like they're driving through the gate, and Weird Al's like, "Everybody say goodbye to your childhood innocence. Goodbye, childhood innocence. Goodbye." Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. The bit where he's on the motorcycle, and there's like raptors. It looks like he's like riding with the raptors.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. If they're like they've trained him like dogs or something like that.
Maybe it's like a ride.
It seems like
ride with the raptors.
Get your picture taken with the raptors right as they bite your arm off.
With that big fuck off big toe, like coming at your face, and you're like, ah.
I tell you what, I really enjoy those crazy circular sphere pods that they had in the movie.
Oh yeah,
where they were riding alongside with some of the dinosaurs. Like,
oh yeah,
man, when are we gonna actually invent something like that?
I know. The same time we get our flying car, that's when.
Yeah.
You could sell that for like safaris now. Like if you could get right up next to like lions or tigers or elephants or giraffes or what the fuck ever. I mean, that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Well, it's like swimming with the sharks.
Yeah. So I think one of the movies I'm pumped up for is Jurassic World. So I don't know what's some movies that you guys are kind of pumped up for.
Oh gee, I'm thinking. Let's see. There's something. Oh yeah, the fucking Star Wars trailer. Are you kidding me? Lightsabers and Andy Serkis doing the voice, and the fucking Millennium Falcon with the music and the
Oh yeah.
So when I saw that trailer, did some of it look like it almost used some of the same like style of capturing like the Millennium Falcon and all those type of things? Like it didn't look like it was like the new like Star Trek kind of stuff. Like it almost had that very Star Wars look to it, or was that just me?
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
I felt that as well. Seeing some of the stuff, it looked like it was a part of the same universe, even though we're having a different director on this and different writers. They did a good job of what looks like it belongs.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like they kind of, for lack of a better word, it seems like they kind of dated the print, so it looks kind of older. And I'm totally down with that. I honestly, like, in this age of super CGI and special effects and everything else, I'm a sucker for practical effects. I mean, I would probably be more partial to the Lord of the Rings trilogy over the Hobbit trilogy, because it seemed like with the Lord of the Rings trilogy they used a lot more practical effects, and instead of having a CG orc, they got a human being and put him in a fucking costume and did makeup and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it looks better. It just looks better on a screen. Like, I don't care what you're shooting it in. I don't care if you're shooting it in, super crazy high def. It looks better on the screen to have like a person in there in that makeup and in like a those practical effects hold up. I mean, look at like the Christopher Nolan, Batman stuff. I mean, I think the only CG that I know of, the only really heavy CG scene that they used in that movie was when Batman was flying over Hong Kong in The Dark Knight.
Oh
yeah. That's because they had to, right?
Yeah, they had to. They actually arranged a way to do it practically. They were going to run like a zip line and have him, have like a stunt guy on the zip line, soaring through the air. But the government didn't want that many helicopters in the air at the same time. So that's the only reason. But they actually did figure out a way to shoot it practically. And I mean, that stuff just holds up. It holds up better on a screen. I mean, most of the like you look at like the old the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I mean, like Minas Tirith and Cirith Ungol, and like those are all miniatures. Like that's like it's a thing. It's a physical thing that the camera looks at. It's not something created, and it looks better to me. It holds up better, and it seems like that's what they're kind of doing with the Star Wars movie. I mean, of course you're not, they're not flying a Millennium Falcon through the sky, but there's physical sets. It's not just blue screens everywhere, from what I understand. That's me.
Yeah, I think there's like a kind of a middle ground from like you can do that stuff, and if it looks somewhat campy, it's okay. You have like a little bit of leniency there, but I think it's almost as bad when you look at something. It's like, yeah, that's completely computer generated and kind of takes you out of that.
Yeah.
Takes you out of the viewing of it.
I'm all fine with the CG lightsaber, though. Show of hands, that lightsaber was badass, was it not?
Oh yeah.
Looked like a lightsaber greatsword.
So I want to know how he's going to use those two little lightsabers on the side.
It's like
are those?
It's like a cross guard. Like like you see like I'm trying to compare it to something. Oh, it's like like in Braveheart, when like like Mel Gibson has that great sword, that like hand and a half great sword, that two-handed sword, and it's got that cross guard on it. That's what he uses to block incoming shots.
Gotcha. I like it better thinking like that's his cheese cutter.
Hey, it's a great adapter for anything,
See, now I'm picturing like a home shopping thing. Oh, and I may detach.
And right now, for only 4 easy payments of $39.95.
I would totally call that number.
Yeah, I just want to say I really enjoy my lightsaber cheese grater. It's been really great.
So Rich has got Star Wars. Is there any big movies that you're looking forward to, John, that's coming out next year besides Star Wars?
Dude, I am excited for Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh,
there you go.
Yes.
Just
yes.
seeing the trailer for it, I mean, There's no other way to say it. I'm sorry, but like I just felt like I had a hard on throughout the whole trailer.
I know, right? Like especially maybe this is just me, but like I have been religiously watching Marvel Agents of Shield because they did such a good job that first season with having the show lead up to Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Oh hell yeah.
Like, I mean, that show like intertwined with that movie so perfectly that I have been like hooked on watching Agents of Shield this season because I'm like, how's this shit gonna tie in with Age of Ultron? Like, I'm waiting for. I'm like, I'm waiting for like this giant revelation that's gonna happen because I feel like it's going to.
Oh, I know. I'm excited for it.
So what have they been building anything up yet? I haven't actually catched any of the episodes.
In the show, it seems like, well, I mean, you're dealing with the whole ramifications of the first season, and and also the Winter Soldier, where you find out. I mean, should I say spoilers? I mean, God damn it, it's a show and a movie, but spoilers about the movie. You find out that SHIELD has been infiltrated by Hydra, and so they're in the second season. They're dealing with the fallout of basically SHIELD becoming a shell of what it once was. I mean, it's no longer this gigantic sprawling organization. It's kind of this like very loose network of people working against Hydra. So you have cast members that are, trying to fight against Hydra and stuff like that. And apparently there's also some alien tech that SHIELD is trying to get and Hydra is trying to also get. So it's kind of like it's becoming like a race to apparently what they're thinking is a city, like an ancient an ancient astronaut kind of city. Like aliens came and built some underground city. So apparently that's what we're leading towards.
So has there been much like mentioning of Tony Stark and his I don't know what he's calling them, but his Defender robots that he's been creating?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen anything of that yet. I'm curious to know if the current story arc they have now is going to tie in with Age of Ultron. I mean, I'm waiting. I mean, maybe it's for nothing, but I don't think they're going to disappoint me.
Yeah,
they didn't disappoint me last season.
Well, I think at worst, like you're talking, John, about how like you had just a raging boner going on while that trailer was happening. But it's like when you see the Hulkbuster, it's like it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, that fight is going to be amazing.
Oh yeah, it is, dude. It is.
Not even. Yeah, I mean that and the bit where they're all trying to lift Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
Yes. Cap kind of moves it, and Thor has that look on his face.
Yeah, the whole expression Thor's face just drops. He's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, man.
I feel like that's just perfect Joss Whedon stuff right there. I mean, it's just going to be great. I think it's going to be an amazing show.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree. I just can't wait for it. I want it to May. I think is when it's coming out. I just want that to get here.
Yeah, that's the one's going to kick off the summer movies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got that, and then Ant-Man, which I think is July
or August. Yeah, it's kind of. I think it's towards the end of summer.
Yeah,
if I remember right.
Yeah, Avengers is May 1st. So we have. Let's see. At the time of this will be what 6 months. 6 months from now.
Till Ant-Man. Yeah.
No, till Avengers.
5 months if it's in May.
So excited.
So to bounce off of Avengers, Star Wars, I mean, these are kind of the ones that are pretty stable franchises. I've only seen the trailer once, but there is a Mad Max.
Yeah.
I believe it's a remake.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, with
yes.
What's his name? Chris Hardy?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, I believe it's Chris Hardy. Let me double check.
Tom Hardy.
Yep,
Tom Hardy. I am a huge. I've got a huge man crush on Tom Hardy. I think he's an awesome actor. Besides the whole Batman kind of thing, I'm not a huge fan of that. But in all the other shows that he's been in, it's been pretty amazing.
Whatever do you mean, Shaw?
He did a great job, and I believe it's called Bronson.
Yeah.
Oh man, that movie, that was just crazy. He's phenomenal. I enjoy him.
Plus, I mean, I think that we're all due for a good post-apocalyptic, kind of movie. Like it seemed like the last one I can think of that kind of came close was that last Terminator.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think we're all due for a good post-apocalyptic movie. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys ever played the game Fallout.
Oh yeah.
I played a little bit of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's I sit there and you play Fallout and it's set in that post-apocalyptic world, but it's kind of like it kind of has this like 1950 kind of spin on it. And I'm just like, why can't I get more of this setting in movies and television? And like I'm jonesing for a good like post-apocalyptic kind of sci-fi thing. And the trailer for this Mad Max, Sean, did you ever see, the other ones
I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't seen all of it though,
Okay.
like from start to finish.
with the Thunderdome and
Yeah.
Master Blaster?
yeah.
Master Blaster.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be nice to get a movie that's kind of that post-apocalyptic that doesn't involve zombies. I mean, I'm a big zombie fan, but it's kind of nice to see an alternative of that. The problem with zombies is it's just kind of that's what causes it, but you look at more like nature or these other circumstances beside this big virus. It's just really interesting to see a different take on it.
Are we over zombies? Is that it? Are we over the is the zombie thing like a fad that has come and gone now? Are people done with zombies and they want something new to, fear that is going to, end the world?
I kind of think so. I think we're on the tail end of the zombie run. We still have these shows that are trying to come up and say, hey, look at us, watch us now. Sci-Fi has one called Z Nation that's out right now. That's done. I don't know how well that does, but it's a sci-fi show, so that's.
I haven't seen it. My dad has been watching it, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
About how it is.
It's not
but
bad.
He records it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do too, and I watch it, and I mean it's cheesy and goofy, and it's kind of what I expected a zombie series to be, because never in my mind did I ever think that zombies were going to explode into the phenomena that they were and are.
Oh, I know.
To think if you would have told me, 10 years from now, John, there's going to be a show on AMC called The Walking Dead and it's based off a comic book, I'd be like, yeah, all right, sure. Okay, buddy. And let me put stock in that Google.
Yeah. Zombies was always kind of that, like, it always seemed like kind of a cult thing. I mean, like, I watched, I remember I was like, you would try to explain zombies to people, like, when I was in school, and they were like, so they're dead, but they're not dead? I'm like, no, they are dead, and they're trying to kill you because they want to eat your brain. Why do they want my brain? Just go with it, okay? How did they get here? I don't know. There was a meteor or I don't know. There was in the old George Romero ones, I think it was a meteor. Like a meteor impacted the earth and it was like radiation from the meteor. Okay. Because there's always like different theories. There's the meteor thing, there's the virus thing, there's the just a good general like biblical apocalypse thing. But they never, they didn't totally like Romero never totally like comes out and explains it, I don't think, and says this is why the dead are coming back to life.
Is that what will cause like the zombie phenomenon to keep going though, is because there's so much unknown that you can keep those stories going? Because that's what The Walking Dead does. It's like every episode leaves you hanging. And so the audience is always consistently like, "Hey, what's going to happen next?"
Well, I think like in the case of The Walking Dead, to me that show isn't about the zombie apocalypse is the setting. I mean, that show is about the characters.
Well, and if you look at it, that's how most zombie movies are. Is it's more about the characters, and like there's so many genres that come out of zombie movies. There's the typical horror movie. there's love stories because you got the characters. There's, people against people kind of stuff. I mean, there's just so many directions to go with that.
My oldest daughter's really into that one movie, that Warm Bodies, where it's like a
Oh goodness.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
she likes it. It's like a teen drama based in a zombie apocalypse. I'm like, are we beating the dead horse? Is that where?
Yeah, that's almost jumping the shark kind of scenario.
But she likes it. She likes a zombie that looks kind of cute and listens to Patience by Guns N' Roses. I don't know.
Has she had that song on loop since she's seen that movie?
They had a bunch of like old school music in there because I guess like he's a zombie at I guess he got bit at like the airport. He ends up at the airport and like he manages to like create this little like personal space and he finds a record collection or something. So he's listening to like music from it's like old rock and roll from the 80s, like Guns N' Roses, and I think John Mellencamp's in there. And
yeah, it's an odd movie. So I mean, talking about like love stories and great books and all this stuff. There's a movie I know you two are like jonesing to go see. I just have to say, Mr. Gray is Waiting. 50 Shades of Grey. I've already bought my tickets. I'm not gonna lie.
You're actually recording this outside the theater. You're waiting for it.
Yeah, I'm waiting in line. I'm in a tent with bow tie or ties all over to let people know what I'm waiting for.
That's out on Valentine's Day.
I believe so.
So have we all decided this is what we're gonna do for a Valentine's Day date? Like, hey, honey.
I think it'd be better just to show up with like 3 dudes and like have people like questioning what's going on as you're sitting in this theater.
And just one dude's in a mask with a zipper on the lips.
It's for a podcast, I swear.
Who's that? That's Steve. He doesn't talk unless we command it. But that's the thing is like it's that move. I mean, 50 Shades of Grey. It kind of created a little phenomenon in the sense that like I think the reason it did create such a phenomenon is because look at the audience of that book was like a lot of like middle-aged kind of housewife kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think what made it so popular is the fact that there were guys going, holy shit, there's middle-aged women that are into this kind of stuff that like would be willing to do this kind of stuff. Like
what I'm saying is if you go to that theater on opening night, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of women there by themselves. I mean, just throwing it out there, you could probably pick up a middle-aged cougar pretty easily.
Oh yeah.
Like a singles bar. You're gonna walk into the theater, and the lights are gonna go down, and you're gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel.
So you guys have any other movies that you guys are looking forward to?
Well, now it's 50 Shades of Grey. I figured out my date night. We've hit Avengers. Ant-Man is in July, and I don't know. Ant-Man. I think he kind of does. I could see how we can get a movie out of Ant-Man. I mean, when people think about Ant-Man, it was like, isn't he in the Avengers? And yeah, I mean he was, and wasn't really a lot spoken about Ant-Man. But I mean, Hank Pym was super smart. Hank Pym, I'd say, was like, Tony Stark level kind of smart.
Oh yeah, I mean in the comics he is the one to create Ultron.
Exactly. He created Ultron. He built the suit that lets him, shrink and grow and all sorts. Yeah. I mean, what the heck? Where's the love for Ant-Man? I wonder if the original plan, because I mean, this Ant-Man movie has been in production since like 2006. I wonder if the original plan was to have the Ant-Man movie and have Hank Pym actually build Ultron for this Avengers movie.
Yeah,
I wonder if that
makes-
was, I mean, who knows, but I wonder if that was the plan before. Because I mean, you're right. In the comics, Hank Pym is the one that builds Ultron. In the movies, it seems like in Avengers, I get the impression that Tony Stark is going to be the one that's going to
Yeah.
build Ultron.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that was the original plan.
Yeah, I
But
don't
who
know.
knows?
The thing I'm worried about is that I'm excited to see Paul Rudd is in it, and he's playing the main lead, and he's playing the newer Ant-Man, and
Right.
we're getting Hank Pym in it as kind of a cameo situation. But I'm really hoping that they're not like, oh yeah, Paul Rudd's gonna bring us a whole bunch of money, and it's going to be the exact opposite of what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy, because everyone was like, really, Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy, you're gonna make this movie? And
Everybody was.
then it destroyed the box office.
It did. I mean, I was like that. I was like, why the fuck are we making a Guardians of the Galaxy
Me
movie?
too. I'm guilty.
I'm like, that was like it was a B. I mean, it was a terrible. I mean, it was a B comic. I remember seeing it when I was a kid, and I'm like, why the fuck would I want to read a comic that's a raccoon in it? But then you go to see it, and you're like, oh wow.
Yep.
Did you guys see it just once, or how many times did you guys see that movie?
I've only seen it once, but I think I have it pre-ordered for. Yeah, the DVD will be out soon. I have it pre-ordered. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I only got to see it once as well. I wish I could have saw it more than once, but like I said, we had a little one right before summer, so we didn't get to. Still haven't gotten to go out and watch too many movies anymore.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering with the Ant-Man if that's going to be our introduction to like the second string of Avengers, because Guardians seems like they're kind of the wild card, but with Ant-Man, he seems like he's going to be the person that's kind of running this second group of Avengers that'll take up the mantle when our big name characters kind of go away for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm also. I'm sure they're gonna include Ant-Man in the Avengers lineup. For probably the next for the Avengers Infinity War that they're doing. And then Joss Whedon gets to do his favorite thing, which is he's probably going to kill somebody off.
Yeah.
He's going to kill somebody off, and then Ant-Man, I mean, Kevin Feige, I think, has all but confirmed that the lineup of the Avengers is going to change by the end of this movie. So I'm sure, some people are going to bow out, and they're probably going to bring Ant-Man in. Where Black Panther's another one. They're probably going to bring him in. I mean, they're introducing Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch into this Avengers movie, so.
And Captain Marvel.
So do you think of this next run of movies, Ant-Man, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, which one of those flops, is that which character is actually going to die? Like that's who they give Joss Whedon the permission to kill.
There you go.
So Ant-Man flops. Like, all right, well, you can kill Ant-Man whenever you want. He's like, yes.
Better be selling us some tickets there, Rudd. Dance, monkey, dance. Well, I don't know. It seems like we've kind of covered the gamut of movies. Let's. I'll move on. I'll move on to television. Okay. So television. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of early in the year, so there's shows that are going on now. I mean, we got The Walking Dead. Great show. I'm actually like a few weeks behind. I've heard that it kind of the storyline kind of slowed down a little bit, so I was letting the episodes kind of build up, and then I'm just gonna do it all in one big shot. Just so you got Walking Dead, which obviously one of the big shows 2015. I'm curious to see what's gonna go on with the new season of Doctor Who. It seems like you guys don't care about Doctor Who. Am I the lone Doctor Who fan?
I just started watching the season from 2001, I believe, and Tiffany actually really dug it.
With Christopher Eccleston?
It's the guy that's kind of got a longer face. It's not the doctor that you talked about being a Joker. This is I think one of the older doctors. Is that the right one you just mentioned?
Well, okay. Christopher Eccleston. I'm trying to think what other movies he was in. He was the bad guy in Gone in 60 Seconds. Kind of like shaved kind of head. Is he wearing a leather jacket or a longer coat? Okay, that's
it was
Eccleston.
a leather jacket. Okay. So yeah, it was Eccleston.
If John, if you haven't had the chance, I mean, I have to. I feel obligated to say, watch Doctor Who. You can catch season. I think they have like seasons 1 through 7 on Netflix
Awesome.
of the reboot.
Yeah. I didn't know where to start with it. I've vaguely heard the history of Doctor Who and how there's even talks about there's been apparently some episodes from way back when that are lost episodes, and they ended up finding some of them or
They
whatnot.
did. They found. I guess somebody had some reprints of some old episodes with Peter Troughton from like the late 60s.
Yeah.
The show has been on since 1964.
That's awesome.
So I mean,
I just never knew where to begin. I've wanted to get into it, but I didn't know. I was like, should I try to find stuff from the old days and watch that first?
I mean, it's totally up to you. I would say for most people that like have never seen anything of the show at all, I would say start with this current incarnation of the series.
Okay.
So go from like what Sean's doing. I would go from like 2001. And if you really get into it, I mean, you can go back and watch the older episodes. The older episodes don't really link together that as closely as they do now. The
Okay.
older episodes, they'll have running arcs. They'll go like for a span,
Mm-hmm.
and there's little bits and pieces of like lore. But I would say start from 2001. Go from Christopher Eccleston in 2001 to now, and you'll be good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll do that then. Because
Great
I mean,
show.
I've been wanting to do it and just didn't know where to start, so I'll do that.
But this year they have a new Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, this year they went with this year they have Peter Capaldi, which I don't know, I've seen some of it. I've seen some of the episodes with him in it, and the jury's still kind of out. It's an odd show because the way this show was worked since 1960 is the main character. Basically, obviously they don't have, the main character, the Doctor. Obviously, it's not the same guy since 1960. There have been 12 different incarnations. No, 13. I'm forgetting one. 13 different incarnations of this main character, the Doctor. Now, originally the thing was the original actor didn't want to do the show anymore, but they wanted to keep the show going. So they actually just wrote it in. They're like, well, since he's an alien, when he dies, then he regenerates into a different person. And so that's how they actually justified in the show how to have their main actor leave the show and bring someone else in. And they have done this, like I said, 13 times.
Oh, wow. I like that idea. It's a lot better than watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and then all of a sudden the mom's different. You're like, what?
Right. Exactly.
Or the new baby's like 6 years old instead of 2.
Exactly. So you have, so right now they're on Doctor number 13, Peter Capaldi, which I was going to say that when it comes to the show, like when you get a new Doctor, and this has happened to me quite often, you get a new Doctor and then you're like, oh, but I like the old one. I like the guy that played the Doctor, and now there's this guy, and like, how's this going to work? And so you have to give it a little bit of time, but then it's happened to me on more than once where they switch doctors and then I end up liking the new one more than the one before. That's happened to me at least twice. It happened to me with David Tennant. David Tennant replaced Christopher Eccleston, and then I'm like, oh my God, this guy's even better than Eccleston was.
So you just love the newest thing?
Yeah, I'm a trend chaser. That's me.
And there's been one female Doctor, right? Or is there
No.
not? Okay.
No. Doctor always travels with a companion or companions. So that's the premise of the show. Is you have this alien that's, hundreds of years old, just travels the universe in a time machine that can travel through space and time, that for some reason looks like a police box from 1960. That's also another thing with the show, is the show was done on the cheap, and obviously they didn't have the money to build a gigantic time machine, all space age looking, especially in the 60s.
Yeah.
Build this giant, time spaceship thing. So they built this police box that, policemen used to go to call the station or whatever from the 60s. And they said, well, that's the spaceship. And it has a camouflage circuit that malfunctions, and so that's why it looks like a police box.
So what they do, they're like, what's going to be around forever? It's like these police boxes, they're almost like payphones. They'll never disappear. They'll be around forever.
Well, there was the last Doctor, Matt Smith. He described it perfectly. He was like, the spaceship is called the TARDIS. That stands for Time and Relative Dimension in Space. So he says, he's like, the TARDIS is its own thinking, living, breathing, conscious, sentient time machine spaceship. Once it lands in a given area, within the first nanosecond, it analyzes the entire environment within a 3-mile radius, then chooses the perfect camouflage in order to blend in completely with its surroundings. And then after it does that, it disguises itself as a police box from 1963.
Awesome. So you got your Doctor Who coming up. We've talked a little bit about Walking Dead. I'm a big fan of that show. I know, John, you talk about that quite a bit. There's another big show on HBO. I'm a big fan of the book too, but it's going to be starting up its new season is Game of Thrones.
Yes.
I know, Rich, you're a big fan. John, how much of Game of Thrones have you watched?
Dude, I've read all the books so far, just the main series. I am not caught up on the last season though. So, but
I'm the same way. Yeah.
Have we gotten book 6 yet?
No.
Not yet. Last I heard, supposedly next year in 2015, we're supposed to get that. Is that still the rumor, or has it been pushed?
It's still the rumor, but I'm sure it'll get pushed.
What the fuck?
He just came out recently with some type of like adaptation book of A Song of Ice and Fire or World of Ice and Fire. I can't remember the title of it and what it's exactly supposed to be. And I'm just kind of like, please just continue working on your series.
I picked that up. I haven't read through it yet, but I guess there's this website that it's these kind of fans who have taken everything he's written and all the other stuff that he's done, and have basically documented the history of Westeros, and that's what that book is supposed to be.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, so it goes through like the prehistory of Westeros, and then it goes through like all the families and all the wars, and takes you up through the current novels up to, I think, pretty much right where his novels have left off, and that's like the current history of Westeros.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a pretty slick book. Like, it's hardcover, but it's got that soft feel to it, and the artwork in it is really, really beautiful.
That sounds awesome.
Well, I know what I'm asking for Christmas.
Right? Well, I mean, okay, so you neither of you have seen this last season.
Not yet, no. I haven't either.
So for this next season, from what I've heard so far from this next season, is they're going to be focusing. Okay, now this is this will work perfect because I actually have not read the books. I'm caught up on the show, but I have not read the books. You guys are not caught up on the show, but you have read the books. So this might be this. I think this will be good. So this next season, from what I've heard, is they're going into Dorne, and they're really getting into. We're going to be seeing the city, and we're going to be getting introduced to Prince Oberyn, who had a really big part in this last season. I don't know how extensive he was in the books, but Prince Oberyn and his family I think is going to be like the big focus of this upcoming season, from what I understand. They're also not touching on Bran's storyline at all. So like what you see in this last season of Bran and Hodor, the end of that's all you're getting for another year.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, and it seems like everything they've talked about it's getting pretty close to being caught up to where Bran is in the book.
That's the way I understand it. Apparently where Bran is in the show is where he's at in the book. So they didn't really I guess they're not doing much with him this season because there really isn't much for him left to do.
And John, I'm curious about, because Rich hasn't read the book, and I haven't really talked to anybody who's read the book, but as you've watched these seasons, did you read the books pre to the season starting? Or?
Yes, yeah. I had read the books probably right around the time that the first season actually came out.
Okay. Yeah, I think the first and second season I watched and then read the books. But from that point on, as I was watching the show, it seemed very much like deja vu. Like, as what I've read in the book is exactly what they've been putting on the screen in a lot of scenes.
Pretty much so. Like, some of the stuff is very dead on, and it does a great job for those who don't like to read. It does a good job as an adaptation.
I always kind of feel like it helps explain a few things, because like I feel like watching the first two seasons has helped me read the book, because there's just so many characters in this book that it's really difficult to keep a constant idea of like who each character is and putting faces to people, because I mean there's in the first book alone there's probably at least 30-40 characters that are big.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember reading the first 30 pages of the book because like my stepdad was like, you gotta read this book, and I'm reading the first 30 pages. I'm like, really? What's so big about this book? And I'm like, all right, I'll give it another go. I'll truck through it again. And after those 30 pages, I was just like, wait, I just finished this whole 800-page book. I couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, is there more of this? There is? Oh, sweet.
That's what I love about that series too, because if you started reading that when it first came out in like 93, let's say you're 20, it's going to finish in probably 2024. Yeah. You're going to be, 45, 50 years old? I mean, that's going to span your entire life.
Yeah.
And now you have adaptation on HBO.
Yeah, the thing that I'm worried about is where HBO is going to have to take it, because let's be honest, it's going to be tough for them to try to stay along the same lines as George R.R. Martin's books, because he's not getting any younger, and he still has supposedly these 2 books left, and those seasons are going to finish up. If he's still on the same rate of writing as he has been in the past, I've already heard a couple of different things that are happening on the TV show that are a little bit different from the books. So I'm interested to see where they are going to take it, where it's going to, if it's going to spawn off into something on its own.
Yeah, I've heard they've kind of flirted with the idea of possibly taking a year off if they get too close to the books, which I think if this new book comes out next year, they'll probably have at least 2 more seasons before they're fully caught up.
Yeah.
But if that new book isn't out this year, I mean, they probably will realistically have to look at taking a year or 2 off, which will that kill the show's momentum?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to have to do, to be honest with you. I think the show's so big, I think it could afford to take a year off, and it would just build that hunger, everyone's viewing hunger for the show to come back. And I think it could do that. I don't think a lot of other shows could do that, but who knows? I'm excited for this new season. I'm excited to actually sit down and watch the Blu-rays of season 4. I believe it is last season. And, hopefully watch the next season in 2015.
Okay, well, you guys are talking about like, are you if you're afraid that the show's going to lose its momentum after being off the air for so long? I'm going to give you an example of a show that's I think coming up on the very tail end of 2015 that I'm still just as pumped for as before, and that would be Sherlock.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
And I mean, that might not even be until like early 2016. And I mean, I at this point I'm still just like, what it needs to faster. It needs, like, the fact that it's off the air so far has not killed my drive to want to watch that show.
Yeah.
I feel like the rewatchability on that show probably helps it out a ton. Because how many times have you watched the first season?
I would say I've seen it at least twice, maybe 3 times. That's just it. I mean, you are right. It is. It is a very rewatchable show. Almost like you rewatch it to see if there's stuff that you missed.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
But I mean, when I found out at the end of this season, when I found out, they were like, "Oh, well, it's not going to be," because originally they didn't think they were going to do any more at all.
Okay.
Like after this season 3, the theory was that, well, Benedict Cumberbatch is doing, he's a huge star now and he's doing movies, and Martin Freeman's been doing movies, and everyone just kind of figured that the show was just going to kind of fizzle off. But then when they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll come back and we'll do some more episodes," then everybody's like, "Oh, really?" I mean, that was like a Christmas present almost. And I have seen, they did put out some pictures. I have seen some pictures of Sherlock and Watson for the upcoming show.
So is it all taped and ready to go, or are they still shooting?
I don't think they've even started filming. I don't know. I don't know where the show is in terms of production. I'm not sure.
Well, the way they left off that last season, I mean, it was definitely a cliffhanger that was
are
really tough to hold on to for
kidding
2
me?
years. It's like, oh, well, guess who's back?
And then you're like, wait, what? And just think if like they left it like that and then you found out that they weren't going to make the show anymore.
Oh, that would be miserable. That's one of the shows that, like, my wife does not really get into TV shows at all, but she absolutely loves Sherlock. And we rented that on Amazon or DVD. And after it finished, she's like, "Oh, is the new season ready yet?" And I'm like, "No, it'll probably be next year." And so I get online and start looking. I'm like, "Oh, actually, they're not doing it next year." And that's the most pissed off I've seen her after anything in our relationship.
But I love you. Are you mad at me?
But
you're not mad at me, are you?
I'll be here next year. She's like, "I don't care."
So yeah. So apparently, I've just realized that apparently I'm just a slave to British television. That's what it seems like on my end. Between Doctor Who, actually, and it's sad because they're both written by the same guy. So I'm a slave to Stephen Moffat
And fucking Cumberbatch.
Hey, fucking Cumberbatch. John, I gotta ask, like, how psyched were you when you found out like that was gonna be your Doctor Strange?
Oh, dude, I enjoyed it. I thought that is a great guy to play Doctor Strange. You couldn't really get any better. They've been talking for some time that Joaquin Phoenix was going to play him, and I knew Patrick Dempsey wanted to play him, and he was really he was really vouching for it, and they were like, "No, sorry, dude." And then that was announced, and I was like, perfect, just perfect.
Exactly. Like, it was one of those things like, oh, that's just funny. Well, and then you're just kind of like, well, of course he's who else would play Doctor Strange?
Well, I love the point. Like, I don't know much about him, and I asked you, I was like, "Well, was he a British character?" And you said, "Well, no, but you almost felt like he should be."
It's true. I just watched this movie that had him in it, and I didn't even realize he was in it. It was called like Osage County. It's some like, kind of like really heavy drama or whatever. And my wife, I came downstairs and my wife was watching TV. She's like, come here real quick. I paused this. And she's like, and so I sit down and she's like, wait. And this guy gets off the bus and I'm like, That's Benedict Cumberbatch with a southern accent. This is Benedict Cumberbatch, which was really weird.
Whoa.
I just imagine you like asking her to leave the room and you turn the lights down.
Maybe. Why do on my own time? It's not your business. Not your business. So yeah, I'm a slave for British television. I'm a slave for Stephen Moffat. So when it comes to TV, I'm all about the Doctor Who and Sherlock. But I honestly I forgot about Game of Thrones. So get good on you with the Game of Thrones.
Yeah, good job. I wasn't even thinking about that until you mentioned it. I was like, oh yeah.
I think I was trying to block it out so that way I wouldn't have to remember that show's coming, and that it's a way of me like staving off my anticipation. If I forget that it's there, then I don't have to go like it's coming.
Exactly.
So I guess, is there any other TV shows that you guys are pumped for that you can think of?
Well,
I'm curious to see what's going to go on with Constantine.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you.
Yeah?
Yes, honestly, it's besides waiting for Walking Dead to reboot. I've been enjoying Constantine. I've felt like I'm the only one who has. I heard that they said there's going to be a season 2, but they halted production of it.
Right, which I thought was kind of weird. Like they've done 17 episodes.
Yeah.
So you have 17 episodes, and when they halt production, like you're thinking like, oh, the show's done. But apparently it's in this limbo where it might get picked up for a second season, even though they've stopped filming for the first.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
I don't know, and it's tough to put that show on a Friday night spot. I don't know too many people that stay at home and watch TV on a Friday night, and especially families watching. That's kind of a dark show, so I don't know if that's the first one that they go to, but I don't know. I'll be bummed if they drop it. I think it's cool. It's what Marvel's doing in the movie world, DC is doing in the TV world. And
yeah, I would agree. When it comes to DC, like it seems like the movies are kind of hit and miss, but they nail it on TV. For some reason, they nail it with TV and also with animated.
Oh
with
yeah,
their animation.
Oh yeah,
like they just kill it with these with their animated movies.
Yes, they do. They really do. I'm also excited for Gotham. I don't know if you guys watch that show at all. I've been really liking it, been digging it, and I just hope for bigger and better things for the show.
Yeah, I've kind of fallen off the last few episodes, but yeah, it's definitely been a show that I've wanted to check out. I think that's what Constantine kind of has against it right now, is there's just so much stuff on right now.
Definitely.
Yeah, with Constantine you got Gotham and Arrow, and they're working on the Flash and
Right. Sean, I don't know if you said it on one of your episodes or whatnot, but it's almost like TV has become like a task. It's almost become a chore. You have all this stuff recorded and you sit there and you're like, oh, I got to watch all this now.
Right. It seems like, oh God, you look at the DVR and you give a sigh and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, honey, I'm clocking in for the night, so don't bother me for 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I just look and I'm thinking, oh, damn, and it's not like shows are 30 minutes anymore. It's like everything that I record's an hour. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I fast forward through the commercials. I get about 47 minutes, 43 to 47, depending on what it is. You're like, okay, well, I can do that for maybe 2 television shows before I feel like I've taken up the rest of my day.
And you have to watch them so that way you seem relevant in conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my thing. It's like I have to watch all these shows because if I don't, then people will say things and give references and I won't know what they're talking about.
Who knew that television would be like the next Keeping Up with the Joneses?
It is.
So is that what you tell Amanda? You're just saying like I'm doing research for the show?
I have done that on occasion. I usually try and use that as a get out of jail free card.
Does it work?
Not
or-
really.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else you guys are looking forward to for next year?
I don't know. There's some video games that don't look half bad. Star Wars Battlefront. Apparently, they're working on a remake of that.
Nice.
Which I don't know if anybody's ever played the other ones, but it's basically like Battlefield, like Battlefield 2 or 3, but with Star Wars, which, as we all know, makes everything better.
So they're gonna have like an online kind of like the Battlefield thing where you could be, on one side or the other. Or?
Yeah, and then you could be like a trooper that you can either run around and shoot things, or get in a walker and shoot things, or get in a TIE fighter and shoot things.
Oh, nice.
All good. I'm down.
Oh yeah, that'd be a fun one to play.
Other than that, I mean, that was the only one I would say out of the games of 2015. That was the only one that really jumped out at me. I don't know. See, video games to me, it's even worse than television. And it's like, oh, I gotta play this, so that way I'm relevant in the world when people talk about how cool. It's like that game Destiny. I have so many friends that are playing Destiny.
Oh yes.
And they talk about it, and I'm just like, uh-huh. Sounds cool. And then I feel ostracized. As an adult, I feel ostracized. How weird is that? How weird is it that like when I was in high school, it was like if you sat around and played video games all day, or read comic books, or watched movies about comic books, or anything else, then you were ostracized because of what you were watching. Now as an adult, you're ostracized because you're not watching it enough.
Oh, so true, man. So
How
true.
sad is that? I'm like, I can't catch a break.
All right. Well, I know a big thing for the show is like for next year. I'm excited with our being on the Podbros Network. John, thanks again for letting us join the team. It's really exciting. We're hoping 2015 will be a big year for us.
Oh, thank you guys. I think it's going to be. It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Is there anything you'd like to plug for Podbros before we do a little bit of housekeeping?
Well, if people listening want to see what the network's all about, just go to podbros.com. Or if you want to get at me on Twitter, just follow at Podbros Network.
And we should mention that John also has a podcast, and I would be remiss if he didn't take this opportunity to plug his own show.
Well, I have a few shows, but I don't. I'm not one to brag or anything like
no,
that.
No, please,
but,
toot your own horn.
Oh,
toot the horn.
Look at me! I have all these shows. No,
yeah.
Well, I guess if you want to hear more, actually, if you want to hear Richard and Sean on one of my shows, you can check out the Guy Huddle, which we talk about a little bit of everything, what's happening in the week, and we go over, just some basic stuff, how shows got started and how people have met, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's just a fun little shoot the shit type of show. We also have, if you're into comic books and you don't have the time to read, we have a website called pencilandinkreviews.com, and the podcast as well is called Pencil and Ink Reviews. And we actually do the reading and reviewing for you. So maybe there's something that you've seen out there that you've wanted to get into, but you're not sure, you don't want to spend $4 on a book nowadays. Chances are we probably reviewed it, at least if it's a Marvel title. So there's that as well, along with quite a few other ones. I'm sorry, I've already wasted enough time, but I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for being on. We'll take care of our little housekeeping. We just, if you want to follow us, we're on Twitter at Language of Bro. You can email us at languageofbromance@gmail.com. Our website's languageofbromance.com. You can like us on Facebook and leave us comments on iTunes or Stitcher. And we've mentioned, Rich, where's the other nice place that you can find us?
The Podbros Network, Sean. I don't know why I have to always remind you.
It's just got a great ring to it, Podbros. It just flows off the tongue.
Thank you. That's what we were aiming for,
All right. Well, I guess that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I'm John.
And I say we eat the beaver. Should we have John close it out? Should we get that?
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh,
He can eat
you
beaver.
You're giving it to me? Oh man. Okay.
Go ahead. Let's
All right.
close it out, John.
Give him the beaver.
And I say we eat the beaver.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.